Uh, Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am Specialist Lambertson, and today I will be giving a informative brief on diversity and why is it important. Okay, today's brief will be unclassified, so by all means, please take notes and please hold all questions to the end. Okay, the purpose of today's brief is to explain to you diversity, what it is, and why is it important. Okay, diversity is the wide range of human qualities and attributes, both visible and invisible, within a group, organization, or a society. Okay? Diversity includes things like differences in genders, age, races, religions, cultures, customs, traditions, and even socioeconomic backgrounds. So different social classes, poverty, middle class, the wealthy. Why is diversity good, you may ask? Well, diversity is good for a multitude of reasons, but I've brought them down to about five big topics that I think make it very important. One, productivity. Two, becoming a better world citizen. Three, perspective. Four, acceptance, which leads to less discrimination. And five, just an overall richer life experience for us all. Okay, productivity. Well, you're probably wondering, how does being diverse lead to a better product or better productivity? Well, various backgrounds lead to new ideas and perspectives. Okay, everyone in the world views the world differently than you. Okay, I view the world different than you. All right, my soldiers view the world differently than I do, and it's every human being views the outside world differently than the rest. Okay, which means everyone views problems differently. What may be a problem for you may not be a problem for me. Okay, what may be a problem for me may not be a problem for you. So, when we're diverse in our backgrounds and our life experiences, we have different perspectives on life, okay, which may lead to better and new ideas, which can help us lead to better productivity and ending a lot of problems together. Okay, brings up my next point: perspective. Perspective, it being diverse in your perspective, it helps you shed light on a different life. You can compare your struggles to that of another person, and when you compare struggles with another person, you may realize that your struggles weren't as bad as you thought they were. Okay, now I'm not saying one struggle is worse than the other, because I'm a firm believer in drowning in 1 inch of water is the same as drowning in 100 feet of water. Okay, that's just how I look at it. Um, but it can help you understand where individuals are coming from. For example, especially in the United States Army, we have probably the most diverse army on the face of the planet. So, as NCOs, we're going to run into a lot of soldiers and work for a lot of soldiers that are from different cultures and different backgrounds. As an NCO, if I'm having to give remedial training or corrective action to a soldier and they're not looking me in the eye, I'll take that as a sign of disrespect, because how I was raised. I was raised as a man, you look each other in the eyes. Okay? As adults, you do that. But maybe to my soldier, looking me in the eyes is a sign of disrespect. Maybe he wants to respect me, that's why he's looking away. So it's important to understand that. Okay, which brings up being a good world citizen. Okay, I don't care if you're American, Canadian, Australian, Afghani, Chinese, anything like that. Regardless of your country's origins, where you're from in the world, you're still part of the earth. And we all have one planet. This is it, guys. What we have is what we got. We got to do what we can to make it better for our future generations. Okay? Regular exposure to people with different cultures, traditions, You learn to communicate and interact with them better. Okay, you learn to interact with different communities. Okay, and which leads to an increase in understanding of the world and how it works. Okay, which leads to acceptance. Acceptance, which is not the same as tolerance. All right, acceptance is more than tolerance. Um, Exposure to different diverse backgrounds can make you realize more times than not that you actually have something in common with another individual from another um, diverse background other than your own. Okay, I can't tell you how many times I have sat by a riverbank here in southern Georgia, okay, and fished, and somebody that I would 10 years ago never would have thought about speaking to, okay, because I came from a very, very small little town, okay, where people just stuck to their own cliques. Um, and I can't tell you how many times I've talked to somebody randomly fishing, and they're completely different than me, yet we've had the same struggles. We've had the same triumphs, and it got me thinking, man, we really all live the same life. We all hurt, you know, we all laugh, we all love, we all cry, we all have anger in our hearts. And when you accept that in people, regardless of who they are, where they're from, or how they live their lives, it makes you accept them instead of just tolerating them. And when you actually accept someone, all right, it leaves less room in your heart and your mind to discriminate, to hate. Okay. Um, One of the biggest issues with discrimination just comes from a lack of knowledge. So if we can accept people and learn about them and where other people come from in the world, we can leave less discrimination in our hearts and minds and open up for more love for the human race. All right, which leads me to the fact that doing all this can very well lead you to a richer life experience. You don't want everyone to think the same as you. Okay, that would be very frustrating if everyone thought the same across the world. Okay, we want to have innovation. We want to have the technology we have. Okay, we just want to have the big and beautiful things that we have in life. Okay, diversity often does lead to new ideas. Okay, it leads to great, big, beautiful new ideas, and um, diversity is what makes us strong. Okay, our diversity, the differences make us strong as a whole. Okay, now that brings up something before I go into my conclusion. Diversity, inclusion, and equity. Okay, it's very important to talk about inclusion and equity when you're talking about diversity. So I already explained what diversity was, right? Diversity is a wide range of human qualities and attributes, both visible and indivisible, within a group, organization, or society. Inclusion is creating an environment where people have a sense of belonging and are able to achieve their full potential. Equity is the fair, inclusive, and respectful treatment that recognizes different needs and expectations. Equity acknowledges the fact that equal treatment may not always equal an equal result. Okay, it may not mean equal results. Prime example of this, let's say we have a dinner room table. Okay, diversity is having everyone that is completely different than you in the dining room. Okay, inclusion is having them actually sit at the table. You're actually allowing them to have a seat at the table. You're allowing them to have a voice. Okay, you're accepting them and you're letting them feel like they belong at your dining room table, at your dinner table. Okay, equity is you treat everyone inclusive, and respectful at the table. But you also recognize that maybe one of your guests has a wheelchair. Okay? You're still going to let him sit at the table, right? But he has different needs than the rest of your guests. So what you're going to do is what? You're going to remove one of your dining room tables out of the way, put it to the side, and you're going to make sure that your friend, who is different than you, who's in a wheelchair, right, has a spot at the dining room table, and you helped him accomplish that. Okay? You recognize that you're treating him equal, but in order to treat him equal, you had to commit to his needs. He has different needs and expectations than your other guests. Okay? So, in conclusion, diversity. What is it and why is it important? Well, diversity is what makes us different. Okay? Diversity is what makes every individual human being a human being, regardless of who they are, where they come from. Okay? Why is it important? Because if we understand diversity, ladies and gentlemen, we can end all the hate and discrimination in the world. Okay? As somebody that is in the United States Army, I feel like I have a civil responsibility to defend those that can't defend themselves. Diversity makes us strong. Okay? So, with that being said, are there any questions? Okay. 2 questions I want to ask you all is what in your own words is diversity and why is it important in the Army? And are you willing to live in another culture for a day to experience it? All right. Thank you.